Tunde Jimoh sat at the dining table, his laptop open before him, a half-finished cup of coffee by his elbow. The 40-year-old civil engineer had just stumbled upon a viral video titled "The Ultimate Love Prank." Watch her reaction. It showed a man pretending to confess something terrible to his wife, only for it to turn into laughter at the end. The comment section was full of laughing emojis and captions like, "Try this on your partner." Tunde chuckled. He could already picture the look on his wife's face, that mix of shock and scolding affection she always gave him whenever he teased her. Funke Jimoh, 36, was a secondary school teacher, calm and disciplined. She had the gentle patience of someone used to handling teenage mischief, yet she had a spark, the kind that made her eyes light up when she told stories or sang around the house. They had been married for 4 years, no children yet, but their home was full of laughter and quiet understanding. That morning, Funke was in the kitchen, humming a hymn as she stirred a pot of soup for lunch. The scents drifted through the house, rich and comforting. Tunde's eyes lingered on the video again. What could possibly go wrong? He murmured, smiling. He rehearsed it mentally, the prank. He would record it secretly for fun, just to see her reaction. He would pretend to have done something terrible, something that would shock her, then reveal it was all a joke, just laughter, nothing serious. By noon, he had set everything up. His phone camera was hidden behind the flower vase on the TV console. Funke was folding laundry on the couch when he walked in. "Tunde," she said, glancing up with a soft smile. "Did you fix the light in the bathroom?" Later, he replied, his tone playful. "Babe, sit down. I need to tell you something." Her brows furrowed slightly. "What's wrong?" He sighed, acting as he had seen in the video, and sat beside her. "I don't even know how to say this. I just need you to hear me out before reacting." "Tunde, you are scaring me," she said, folding her arms. It's about something that happened last week." He paused for effect. His heart was thumping, not out of guilt, but excitement. This was going to be good, he thought. "Last week, when I went for that project meeting in Maitama," he said slowly, "I made a mistake, a big one." She stared at him now, confused. What kind of mistake? Tunde swallowed, pretending to be emotional. "I don't even know how to say it, Funke. I think I messed up in a way that would ruin everything." She sat up, her voice trembling. "Tunde, you're not making sense. What happened?" He took a deep breath as if about to confess something terrible. "I think..." The front door suddenly clicked open. Both of them turned. It was his younger brother, Dele, a 27-year-old law student, who stayed with them occasionally. He looked pale and nervous. "Bro, please, we need to talk now," Dele said urgently, glancing at Funke. Tunde frowned. "What is it? Can't you see I am..." "It's important," Dele insisted. Funke looked between them, already tensed. "What's going on?" Tunde shot his brother a glare. "Later, go inside." But Dele didn't move. "It's about the car, bro." Funke blinked. "What car?" Tunde's heart skipped. What car? There was no car issue, at least not one she knew of. Dele stammered. "That woman, the one from your office, she has been calling since morning. She said she's going to tell your wife everything." Funke's eyes widened. "Which woman?" Tunde froze. The prank was spiraling faster than he could control. "Dele, what nonsense are you talking about?" He snapped, trying to signal him to stop. But the damage was done. Funke was on her feet now. Tunde, answer him. Which woman is he talking about? He opened his mouth to explain, but words failed him. The prank, the setup, the video recording, everything now looks like betrayal. "Funke, is not what you think. I was just..." She stepped back, her breathing quickening. "You were what?" Tunde, her voice cracked. "You said you went for a project meeting. What did you do?" It was a joke." She shook her head violently. You are lying. Even Dele knows about it. Dele stepped forward, realizing too late what was happening. Sister Funke, please calm down. She was already trembling, tears welling up. She turned suddenly, storming towards the bedroom. Don't touch me, she cried when Tunde reached for her. He followed, desperate. Funke, listen. Then came the crash. A single sharp sound, glass shattering, followed by a heavy thud. Funke! Tunde's voice tore through the quiet house. He rushed into the bedroom and froze. The last standing mirror by the wardrobe had fallen, shards glittering across the tiled floor. Funke lay motionless among them, her breathing shallow, her eyes wide in shock. Jesus! Funke! Dele ran in, his voice white as chalk. Tunde dropped to his knees, his hands shaking as he lifted her head gently. Funke, Funke, please wake up. Her lips moved faintly, a single word escaping her mouth, saying, You lied to me. The siren came long before the neighbors gathered. By the time the police arrived, Tunde's shirt was soaked in blood from trying to lift Funke out of the broken mirror shards. His hands trembled as he explained, stammering through tears. It was an accident, I swear. It was just a prank. I didn't mean for... Sir, please step aside, the officer said firmly. Two paramedics lifted Funke's body onto a stretcher. The once lively house, their sanctuary, now felt haunted. Dele sat at the sofa, his face buried in his palms, whispering the same thing over and over. I shouldn't have said anything. I shouldn't have said anything. Tunde stared blankly at the floor. His phone, still recording from the TV console, blinked with its red lights. The camera had captured everything. That night, Tunde sat in the interrogation room at the Maitama Police Division. The fluorescent light buzzed above his head. Across the table sat Inspector Grace, calm, middle-aged, and watchful. So you're saying this was all a joke? She asked quietly, her pen scratching across the report sheets. Yes, I saw a video online. I was trying to prank my wife to get her reaction. I never imagined. Where's the video? Tunde hesitated. It's on my phone. She signaled to the officer at the door. Bring it. The phone was placed before her. She scrolled through the gallery, tapped on the last recorded clip, and pressed play. For the next 5 minutes, the room was filled with noises of the dead and the living. Laughter that never came. Words that now sounded cruel. Inspector Grace didn't say a word until the video ended. She paused, then replayed the scene where Funke screamed, You are lying. Even Dele knows. Her eyes flicked to him. Who is Dele? My younger brother, Tunde murmured. Where is he? At home. He didn't mean so. She stood up. We will need to speak to him. For now, Mr. Jimo, you will have to remain here. Just a procedure. Tunde nodded numbly. He still smells Funke's perfume on his hands. His mind replayed the crash again and again. The sharpness of the glass, the shock in her eyes, the word liar echoing like a curse. By morning, the story was already online. Abuja woman dies after domestic violence. A local blogger had uploaded the clip, edited, sensationalized. Someone must have copied it from the police leak. The comments were brutal. Men like this are dangerous. He planned it. You can see it in his eyes. Justice for Funke. Dele tried to visit, but the police only allowed him a few minutes. His voice trembled as he spoke. Bro, they are saying it looks like you pushed her. The video doesn't show clearly what happened after she ran into the room. I didn't touch her, Tunde whispered, his voice hoarse. She slipped when the mirror fell. I know, Dele said, but the way you shouted, the words, it doesn't look good. I am sorry, I didn't mean to. Don't, Tunde said quietly. Don't apologize. Just make sure they know the truth. Days turned into weeks. The investigation deepened. The case became a storm of public opinion and accidental deaths. Some called it manslaughter, others insisted. Inspector Grace visited Tunde again, this time with calm, deliberate questions. Tell me something, Mr. Jimo. Why did you decide to prank your wife like that? Did you have problems before now? No, none. We were fine. We were happy. Are you sure about that? Because her colleague said she had been withdrawn lately, said she looked worried. Tunde frowned. That's not true. Maybe she was just tired from work. Maybe, the inspector said, watching him closely. Or maybe she found out something she wasn't supposed to. He looked up sharply. What do you mean? There is a message on her phone, a draft she never sent. It says, if he ever lies to me again, I will leave. Tunde felt the air leave his lungs. That wasn't about me. So it's about who, Grace asked. Sometimes it's the small lies that hurt the most. The trial began 3 months later. The court was packed. Journalists, neighbors, strangers who wanted a story. The judge, an elderly man with stern glasses, listening as the prosecutor painted a picture of a controlling husband who faked a confession that led to tragedy. The video was played again. Each word, each pause became a weapon. In the clip, Tunde's voice trembled. I think I messed up in a way that would ruin everything. Then came Funke's scream. Then the crash. There was no footage after that. The phone had toppled over, recording only muffled echoes. Your Honor, the prosecutor said, pacing. Whether or not Mr. Jimo meant to harm his wife, his reckless acts directly caused her death. He provoked emotional distress that led to panic and fatal injury. This is negligence. That is manslaughter. Tunde's lawyer, an old friend from his university days, stood up nervously. My client had no motive, no history of violence. It was a tragic accident, not a crime. But the public had already made its judgment. When the verdict came, Tunde barely reacted. Found guilty of involuntary manslaughter. Sentence, 12 years imprisonment. Dele broke down in the courtroom. It's my fault, he sobbed. If I hadn't spoken. But Tunde only turned to him and shook his head. No, Dele, it was my joke, my foolish joke. As the warders led him away, flashes from reporters' cameras lit the corridor like lightning. That night in Kuje Correctional Center, the air was heavy with silence. Tunde lay on the thin mattress, staring at the cracked ceiling. Somewhere in the distance, someone was humming. An inmate singing an old hymn. He closed his eyes, and Funke's voice returned to him. The laughter they shared, the quiet breakfast, the prayers before bed. He whispered her name until sleep took him. But outside, something strange was happening. Inspector Grace had received an anonymous envelope. No sender, no return address. Inside was a small USB drive. She plugged it into her office computer. There was only one file titled Mirror Truth MP4. She pressed play. The footage was grainy, but clear enough. It was from a different angle, not from Tunde's phone. The timestamp matched the day of the incident. It showed Funke running into the room. Then a faint reflection appeared in the mirror before it shattered. Someone else standing behind her. Not Tunde, someone shorter. Someone who looked like. Grace leaned closer. Dele. The reflection showed Dele reaching towards Funke, trying to stop her, or maybe pushing her, before the mirror came crashing down. The inspector froze. The truth had just changed shape. Weeks passed inside the correctional facility, and life settled into a slow rhythm. Tunde Jimo woke each morning to the sound of footsteps in the hallway and the faint echo of morning prayers from other inmates. He kept mostly to himself, spending hours in quiet reflection, replaying the moments that had changed his life. He wrote letters to Funke every Sunday, letters he could never send. He wrote of regrets, of the laughter they once shared, of the home that no longer smelled of her perfume. But outside those walls, a quiet storm was gathering. Inspector Grace sat in her office one evening, watching the file on her screen again. The reflection in the mirror was clear now. A faint but unmistakable image of Dele reaching out towards Funke moments before the mirror fell. She called her deputy. "Get me Mr. Dele Jimo," she said. Dele came in 2 days later, his face drawn, his eyes red from sleepless nights. "Inspector," he whispered, "I already told you everything." "I didn't mean..." Grace raised her hand gently. "Sit down, Dele. I want you to watch something." She pressed play. The young man froze as the video began. His hands trembled when he saw the reflection. He closed his eyes halfway through, as if the sight alone was too heavy to bear. When the video ended, the room was silent. "You were there," Grace said quietly. "In the room." Dele nodded, tears sliding down his face. "I followed her, Inspector. She was running and crying. I tried to hold her so she wouldn't fall. I didn't push her, I swear I didn't. But she pulled away and..." He covered his face. The mirror fell. It all happened so fast. Grace sighed. "Why didn't you say this before?" "I was scared," he whispered. "Everyone already believed Tunde did it. And I thought if I spoke, they would think I was trying to cover for him. He's my brother." I panicked. She watched him for a long moment. "The truth doesn't always come easy, Dele, but it's never too late to bring it forward." 2 weeks later, Grace arrived at the correctional facility. Tunde was in the workshop, fixing a broken chair for one of the officers when she entered. He looked older, quieter, but his eyes still held the calm dignity that had once charmed his wife. "Mr. Jimo," she said gently, "we need to talk." They sat across from each other in the visitation room. "I have received new evidence," Grace began. "A video. It shows your brother was in the room when the accident happened." Tunde's hand stilled. "What?" He tried to stop her from running. "The mirror fell by accident. You didn't push her." Tunde leaned back, staring blankly for a moment. The words took a while to sink in. Then quietly he said, "So it really was an accident?" "Yes," Grace said, "and I will be filing for your case to be reviewed. It might take time, but you deserve that chance." He nodded slowly. "Thank you so much." There was a long silence. Then he added, almost in a whisper, "Please don't be too hard on Dele. He loved her too. He just made a mistake, like I did." Grace studied his face, the kind of man who had already served a heavier sentence inside his conscience than any court could impose. Months later, news spread that Tunde Jimo's case had been reopened. The review board listened to the new evidence, watched the video, and questioned Dele under oath. The final judgment came quietly. Conviction overturned, accidental death confirmed, immediate release order. When the gates opened for him at last, the evening sun bathed the compound in soft gold. Tunde stepped out slowly, the wind brushing his face, the first real breath of freedom in over a year. Grace waited by the car outside, holding a small envelope. "This was found in your wife's belongings," she said, handing it to him. He opened it carefully. Inside was a folded note in Funke's handwriting. "Tunde, promise me we will never let small lies come between us. Whatever happens, let's keep laughing." His eyes brightened. "She always believed in peace," he murmured. Grace nodded. "Then honor her by living differently." That evening, Tunde visited the quiet spot by Jabi Lake, where he and Funke used to sit on weekends. The water shimmered under the fading lights. He placed the note on the beach beside him and whispered softly, "Forgive me, Funke. I learned too late that laughter isn't something to play with." A gentle breeze lifted the paper, carrying it towards the lake. Tunde watched until it vanished beyond the ripples, a small promise released to the wind. He stood, straightened his shoulders, and walked away. A free man marked not by guilt anymore, but by wisdom, but at a painful price. Months later, a public campaign began under Funke's name, Think Before You Prank. It encouraged couples and families to be mindful of emotional jokes and viral challenges that would hurt more than they amuse. Tunde volunteered quietly behind the scenes, telling his story in schools and seminars, not for sympathy, but as a warning. Every time he spoke, he would end with the same words. Some laughter costs too much. Always choose love over a moment's amusement. And somewhere beyond the noise of the city, the wind that swept across Jabi Lake seemed to carry a faint, peaceful whisper, as if Funke herself approved.